Hello YouTube, Tim here. I've got another episode of PVC Bow Talk, or mail call, Q&A. I don't think I did it last week, and I've been catching up on an awful lot of stuff. I've also had comments about doing prop weapons. Well, I do have some, including Orcrist, the Goblin Cleaver, that I'm working on. I'll also work on a nicer hafted axe, and some interesting things like that. But for the moment, I haven't been able to devote as much time to those sorts of things as I would have liked. I'm very busy both with real life work. A number of you know what I do, others don't, but if you dig around in the forum you'll find out. Anyway, right now let's get to the questions. Right now I have the red Eye Cobra. Can I use a hairdryer instead of a heat gun? I know we've heard this before, but it keeps coming up, so I think the more I put it out there, probably not, no. Even if you get it to work, it'll be much less efficient than just using a heat gun. If you have a channel, an aluminum channel, and if you focus on a small area for a long time with high intensity, yeah, it might be possible. Particularly if you build a little aluminum tent over it to try and keep some hot air in there, it's possible. But I think you'd be surprised with how much more efficient a heat gun is, and they're only about $20 on Amazon, so I think you'll find it worthwhile. If you like, I'll even link to one down below, the one that I bought. And it's a great value. That was the original one that I bought. I'll also link to one that I replaced the original one after I dropped it about 1 million times. It started sputtering out pieces of heat shield in it. But tip, don't drop your heat gun. It's a really good way to keep them working. Okay, Colt Selleck asks, what were the dimensions of the dowel handle bow? Okay, that's easy. The inner handle section was about an 8-inch rod of oak dowel. There were two 24-inch pieces of 3/4-inch Schedule 40 PVC. These are the scraps that are typically left over. When I make two 48-inch long U3 curve bows from a single 10-inch piece of PVC, or 10-foot piece of PVC, you're left with a 2-foot segment. What do you do with those? Well, this is a really great way to upcycle them, so to speak. They were each inserted about 2 inches in on each side, maybe 2.5 inches. So that's the basic shape and size of it. The bow shoots, if you've seen it, about 50 pounds at 28 inches. Very nicely. It shoots no worse than a U3 curve bow, but it's substantially longer. So in cases where you need a slightly longer bow, that could work really, really well. The Papa Smurf says, shut up and take my money. I'm serious. Okay. Raindog951 and Custom Foo both ask, why coat or seal pleather, in reference to my video where I was attempting to use some spray coats to coat pleather. That is vinyl leather, plastic leather. Well, basically I like to paint on top of things, and I paint on top of naked bows. That works just fine, but sometimes I wanted to get a somewhat more authentic look, which means you take the leather, you coat a bow with leather, then you paint on top of the leather, and then you varnish it. And when I tried to spray one bow before, it just came away tacky. So if I'm trying to protect paint, I want to not ruin it, not ruin the pleather. And it seemed like if you spray it on thin, light layers and let it dry each time very thoroughly, no problem whatsoever. The Piccola Pie. How can I make a more beige color for the bow? Okay, I recently I showed you how I made the reddish tint to the bow that I made. It was a beautiful cherry red finish. It's great. What I do is I put on the black shoe polish onto a bow after sanding it, and I put on some brown, then a layer of red spray paint. Very thin all over. And then you just go back to applying black and brown until you're happy with it. And you can alternate layers, more spray paint. That actually makes it easier to apply the shoe polish too, because through the paint it's harder to remove the old shoe polish. Typically when you rub on new layers of shoe polish, you have to be careful not to rub off the old, because the liquid in it, the water, just tends to soften the old shoe polish and you can peel it right away. All your work can be ruined, so this helps in a lot of ways, and it makes it look a little bit deeper and richer. So my suggestion was to try a beige paint or something like that if you wanted to get a little bit of a more creamy color. I'm going to be experimenting with stuff like that. I'm going to pick up a few new paints, and I'm going to just take some squares of PVC and finish them all up together so I can make a little swatch for you guys and show you all the results of different styles of finish. Dark Shadow Saver. What happened to the prop weapons? I tried to answer that at the beginning, actually. I have been busy with both with real life and with Golden Horde bows. I've got lots of requests, and I do promise to get back to that as soon as I'm able. PK Illusion 1. This is a great question. Why not make the tomahawk blade out of a single piece of PVC? This is reference my Assassin's Creed Connor Kenway tomahawk that I showed. I think it looks awesome, and it is great. And to be honest with you, I had done the single piece. You can shape it, but it's very hard to get the sort of compound curves you need to make the blade look right. You have to have the end at a sharp angle, and then it's substantially more than 90 degrees angling back before it forms the main body of the blade, or of the back head of the axe head. So it's a complex shape. Take a look at the art, and you'll see what I mean. I did that for my first tomahawk, and I wasn't entirely satisfied with it. I mean, that one is basically giving it to my daughter to play with, and that sort of tells you about how serious I am about that particular weapon. It's going to get destroyed. That's all I've got for this week. If you have any more questions, just send them in. I'm always happy to answer them, and I love getting to interact with users and viewers. I think this is a fun way to do that. So if you have questions, send them to me, and I will be happy to answer them as best I can. Thanks for watching, YouTube.